my name is Brook Barney, and I'm an integrative nutrition health coach. Today, we will be covering balanced health versus dieting. This is one of the areas that I enjoy teaching the most and or having discussions around because our society is really based on dieting instead of creating balanced health. So let's dive in. And so that you're accustomed to what integrative health is, I take a holistic approach to creating new sustainable changes in your lifestyle. So just as we're covering today, dieting versus balanced health, sustainable health requires looking at all areas of your life and creating new healthy habits and ways of living that's going to do exactly that, sustain you. So this may be looking at not only your food, but your movement, your sleep, your mindful practices, your relationships, how are you doing life? So let's start off with why not to diet. Just to kind of set that foundation. Well, I don't know about you, but any diet that I used to try when I was younger, growing up, I watched my mom diet. I watched society diet, and it comes from all angles. All the marketing is coming into us saying this is a quick fix that will get you to this image, for say, of what is acceptable. What's going to make you feel good, look good. So ultimately, though, the dieting method is short term, and it requires a lot of pure willpower because oftentimes you're given a base plan, but it's not a sustainable plan. It's only going to sustain you based off of willpower, which is more short-lived. And then this is a really large one for me because I truly, truly enjoy food a lot, and the tastes and textures and creating different foods and cooking and really enjoying celebrations with food and food in love. So when you're in that dieting mode, then you're feeling very restrictive and in lack. You may not be enjoying a lot of foods that bring a lot of satisfaction to you. And so we're in a moment, we're going to kind of start categorizing what satisfaction is, right? Satisfaction can easily mean a donut short term, but we're talking about satisfaction long term. When we are dieting, we often start interrupting our hormones because we start, we're not really listening to our body and what it means. We just kind of follow this method that has been known to reduce weight. Well, that may not work for your particular body. And during that process, just even for example, intermittent fasting, that's a very hot topic right now. And there's some beautiful, beautiful benefits to intermittent fasting, but we can't say that it works properly for every individual. And it works differently for men and women. And so if you are dieting, following a particular diet method that is not working well for your body and you're not listening to your body's signs, then it can ultimately be throwing the balance off in your body. That goes along with not being bio-individual. It's not meant for your body. And then dieting, this is such a touchy subject, an emotional subject, I'd say, for many, is because it's really focused on physical only instead of how does it make you feel? How do you want to feel inside? Like I really, in my practice, I focus more on, sorry about that. I focus more on the how is your internal health going to balance you physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So it's not necessarily the outside, only. It's more about health rather than your physical looks. But most often diets are only focused on the physical rather than actual health. And we see this so much, and I'd say a lot with women, but it could be more so that women are targeted in so much of the marketing, and then two, so these society pressures that are placed upon women, they create these eating disorders. So when you're dieting, I'd say the majority of women that I've worked with in my practice over the years, over 90-95% have had some type of eating disorder or disordered eating in their lifetime. This creates a long-term disconnect or imbalance with eating. And so we want to go about creating more balanced health rather than the diet method to reduce disordered eating. And then diets, they come with a lot of guilt and shame and disappointment. Oh, I didn't do things perfectly the way that I'm supposed to today. You're so hyper focused on staying inside that box without accurate tools to support you. And that's, again, going back to that willpower method, is you don't have these emotional, mental, spiritual, physical supports in place to actually support you so that you can allow yourself to not be perfect, to not create the perfectionism within the box. So I don't know if you have experienced any of these, anything here on the list, but this is very common in the diet society. So like I said, I want to focus this more on balanced health. And if you are looking for, whether you are looking to physically change your body, that's okay. That is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I just want to take you a little bit deeper so that you can start thinking about health rather than just the physical aspect that often comes along with dieting. So balanced health takes this approach of the physical that we know of: food, water, movement, sleep, your physical body. But it also connects emotional, spiritual, and mental. So these are those support tools that I was talking about, and or additional areas. So oftentimes we are dealing with all of this emotional distress that's coming out in the ways that we eat, why we eat, how we eat, what we eat. And when we're not dealing with our emotional health, then it's really difficult to make sustainable changes on the physical level. And then your spiritual practice, your spiritual health is another support method that's going to allow you to make those changes that will support you long term. And then there is the mental aspect of it. And this is very minimized, but just a few points there is what do your thoughts look like? How are you supporting yourself mentally? What is your mindset like? And then there's a lot of patterning and habits involved. So oftentimes we start into a diet, yet we don't realize how long it takes to patternize, I would say, decompose those patterns, those habits that we have built up over years of our lives. We expect it to happen within a day, 3 days, a week, even 3 months. That's not very long if you have particular patterns and habits in place for years at a time. So just kind of let that set in as to what a way to sustainable health versus dieting. So the first area we want to start is with emotionally connecting. Anytime I start working with an individual on their health journey, we start with the emotional connection and awareness process. Again, the reason is because the food can only take you so far. It really is this integrative approach, and you need to emotionally connect with, why do I want this lifestyle change? Because we want to create this, we need to create the feeling inside of, how do you want to feel, so that you can come back to that feeling when you're making your decisions. Is this decision going to support how I want to live my life? Is this decision going to support how I want to emotionally, mentally, physically feel inside? And then what do I want to gain? Oftentimes we talk about what we're giving away in dieting, right? What are we removing? But what are you going to gain? Like, really sit with that and spend time with, oh my, I'm going to gain energy. I'm going to gain better sleep. I'm going to gain more balanced, regulated moods. I'm going to gain more adventure because I'm going to have that energy and or vitality to go to explore more. I'm going to gain fun because I'm going to want to be around more people, be more active, be more social. I'm going to gain mental clarity. So really spending time with what you're going to gain rather than what you're going to remove. That is a really large shift from dieting to sustainable health, to really creating sustainable health. Getting in that thought process of what are you giving to yourself? What are you giving to your life? And then truly, truly being honest about this last question. Am I committed? Am I committed to this change? Am I committed to wanting to feel these new lifestyle changes? We can be committed based off of willpower for 3 weeks is a good amount. You see it when people start their New Year's resolutions. This is one time of the year we really see people are committed, but it's based off of willpower. And then they're based on the diet method. They don't have their surrounding support tools in place. They haven't emotionally connected. And then they just go straight into, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to eat healthy, and then that's it. That's where it ends. That's a diet. And so that ends very quickly after 3 weeks. Some people make it to 3 months. Oftentimes, very, very few people make it past that 3-month mark. So ask yourself if you're truly committed. And if you're not, find ways to get committed, find ways to get ready. Start taking those steps to get ready. We don't want to go about this you don't want to go into it based off of willpower, because then again, that's going to create those feelings of failure over and over. Oh, I just can't stick with this. And it's not that you are a failure. It's not that you are failing at it. You just don't have the support tools in place. So we touched lightly on those habits, right? Those habits that are ingrained. There are these neural pathways that are formed in our brain over time, because our brains, it's such a beautiful, beautiful system that learns our ways. It learns what do we like? What do we like to do? How do we like to do it? It doesn't mean that it's good for us. It doesn't mean that it's supporting us, but it's very, very intelligent in that it learns our way, and then it builds these pathways, these neural pathways, and those create habits. So over time, it's going to go into automatic mode, basically, because we function in the subconscious mind 95% of the time. So that's just our computer system, let's say, that's learning our ways so that it can say, okay, I've got that down. No worry. When you get home from work, I know that you get out a bag of chips and then you go sit on the couch and you open up social media. So then it becomes a habit, right? It's formed. It's just this automatic mode. So habits are formed by frequency, not necessarily time. We want to change the frequency of your habits. So when you're creating new habits, we want consistency over and over and over and over. That's going to build the new neural pathways. That's going to rewire and create new habits. So this is one method that I like to offer individuals is first just creating awareness around what are your beneficial and non-supportive habits currently in place. And here's some examples. Am I exercising? What does that look like? And just really writing it out. When we just voice it in our head, it doesn't work as effectively as really truly just putting it on paper and committing, there's that word again, committing to the awareness of what we're really doing in life without judgment. That's really key. Being honest with yourself. We have to have a starting point, and that includes being honest with yourself. So how much am I exercising? What does my bedtime routine look like? What does my food, drink intake work like? How's my work-life balance? Or am I fulfilled in work? Am I being mindful at work? What does that look like? What do your weekends look like? Oftentimes in diet mode, people diet through the week and then it's the weekend and they eat whatever they want, or they go party, whatever it may be. The weekends look different. So what does that look like for you? Or are you able to really sustain your weekends in a healthy way? And then take a further look around. What do you have a connection with friends? Do you want to create more friendships? What do you want in life? So what's benefiting you right now, and what are your non-supportive habits? Just really listing those out. And then stress would be a really, really large area to spend some time in. And then the second component to creating new habits, after we have created that awareness and we have laid everything out, is starting to create a plan. So if you want to be successful at this, you need to create a plan. So when, where, and how are you going to start eating? Oftentimes people on dieting, they just say, I'm going to start eating healthy. And that may mean that they didn't really necessarily plan. Yeah, they may start including more salads, but more so, they're just removing so much stuff, and that's a good start. They're removing a lot of the highly processed foods, maybe sweetened drinks, but it's what they're failing to do is replacing, adding in, right? So creating, when am I going to plan? So I'm going to plan out my food. So on Sunday at 10 a.m., I'm going to create a meal plan for the week. When am I going to exercise? Monday, I'm going to look at my schedule. I'm actually going to put it in my calendar. That's what I do. So on Monday, I can exercise at this time. Wednesday is this time. And I actually schedule myself in because it's very important for me to schedule my movement in. And then these are just examples. You can write your own list. Buy an 80-ounce bottle of water. We want to drink half our body's weight in ounces a day. And so if you're 160 pounds, you want to be drinking 80 ounces of water a day. So go buy that 80 ounces, 80-ounce water bottle, or 240, a 40 ounce, and make sure to drink 2 of those a day. So again, you're setting yourself up for success and you're starting to create those habits. So every day I'm going to drink 2 of those 40-ounce bottles of water. And I don't recommend tackling everything at once. Diet mode is I'm scrapping everything and I'm just starting fresh tomorrow. And then you go overboard because you created unrealistic, unsustainable practices. We want to create sustainable practices. So slowly start moving in new habits. And once you really have a good habit down, then start on to the next. So maybe your exercise looks like you're going from 0 movement to 5-10 minutes a day, or maybe that looks like 3 times a week. The consistency, again, the frequency is what matters. Once you get that down, then you can start adding on and adding on and adding on. Think of it as we're thinking sustainable. So that's long-term. It doesn't have to happen today. It doesn't have to happen. Everything doesn't have to happen within 3 months, within 6 months. This is a journey. This is a lifelong journey. Of course, we don't want to just drag it out where you're not making changes, but making sustainable changes on a weekly basis, reevaluating, okay, what did I do last week? What can I add this next week? Some weeks you'll take a step back. That's okay. The point is to just get back on track. And then, okay, so yeah, let's, the next step is making it easy to support your good habits. Making it easy, right? So when you need to start adding in a lot more vegetables for that fiber and some low carbohydrates, for more hydration, cutting up your vegetables, make it easy. So okay, how am I going to start eating when I have a very demanding job, let's say, and I have to take the kids to school, I have to pack their lunches. Oftentimes, if you are a parent at all, you're the last. And a mom in particular, some fathers for sure. They are last in line. So you really need to be prepared and make it easy to support your good habits. So put your water bottle out the night before, or your journal. If you're going to start journaling, make sure it's by your bedside, or create that your practice space so that you know it's ready to go. Everything's ready for. I don't need to look for a pen. I don't need to look for my journal. I don't need to look for maybe if you have a pillow that you like, or blanket, whatever it may be, for your space in the morning, your meditation space, your reading space, your yoga. Have it ready, or pre-book a workout class for accountability and to make it easy. It's really simple to wake up that morning and say, actually, I'm not booked, so I'm not going. I don't feel like going to that class. So book that yoga class, book that Pilates class, book find accountability through, if you have a dog, just think that dog needs to walk every day, or start connecting with other individuals that want to start running or walking or doing yoga, whatever activities, Tai Chi, whatever activities you like, because that you're going to be more successful if you make it easy and create accountability. And then as you're making things easy, start making your bad choices difficult, right? So maybe removing the TV from the bedroom. Maybe you have the habit of turning on the TV, falling asleep to it. You've got the blue light. That means you're falling asleep to blue light, and that's going to throw your circadian rhythm off, meaning you're going to wake in the middle of the night, 2-3 o'clock, or you're going to toss and turn, wondering why you can't sleep. It's because you fell asleep to your TV. So you're starting a new bedtime practice, and that includes removing your TV from your bedroom and instead replacing it with one of your good habits. Maybe put your phone in the other room. when we are working on projects, or maybe you're meditating, or even just cutting up your vegetables, any meal prep. If we have our phone in the same room, we tend to check it. Oh, it's so easy to just open up social media, and then you're zoning out on social media for an hour. And now where did that time go? Oh, I don't have time to cut my veggies now. If you think you don't have time in your life, take a look at how much you're spending on social media. If you do look at social media, that is one area where you can easily find 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 minutes even, to free up from just removing yourself from social media, or reducing your time from social media. Now, I understand if you have a business or something, you have to be on social media, but if you're just doing it to kind of zone out, or maybe you even enjoy it, what is it bringing to you? Just really, really consider, what is it really bringing to you? Is it bringing you more than what moving your body will do, or meditating, or prepping your nutritious food for the next day? Is it bringing you more than that? Probably not. And then there's that repetition and consistency once again. So I mentioned 95% of our thoughts are really on that subconscious level, 90 to 95%. And then so many are they're recycled, right? They're on the subconscious level. And then a lot of them are negative thoughts that get recycled, because we are wired to be negative humans, because we are wired to think of what could happen, so that we're always aware. So we really have to work hard to live in the present moment, to think positive thoughts. So working with this is a support tool that we talked about. We're going to start talking about some support tools. So creating a positive mindset and thinking through setting intentions, expressing gratitude, challenging your limiting beliefs. This is a lot of that emotional work, mental work, spiritual work that I was talking about, that's going to support you on your physical journey. You're going to be able to make better choices and want to make better food choices, movement choices, with your physical health. If you're supporting yourself and really working through any areas, emotional distress, mental distress in life that either happened in the past and or is ongoing or present in your life right now. So additional support tools are breath work, meditation, journaling, gratitude. I love all of these tools here. If there's any that you need support with, Vivaya is such a beautiful platform where you can easily find a guide that can offer any of these mindful practices to you to create some more presence and help support you. Okay, so the next step is realizing that you are on a journey, and that our health journey is not a destination. So we want to plan. We've really talked about plan. We want to make our health a priority. Making it a priority means you are being intentional, right? When it's not a priority, we are not being intentional. We are shoving it down. We are not bringing it into the present moment. We are not being intentional about it. And then creating patience. It is a journey. If we continue to keep that word in mind, that we're just on a journey here. We're on this human experience. But it's a beautiful human experience once you get settled into your body, and once you start living with intention, and you understand that it's lifelong. So have patience with yourself as you're going through these changes. When you start into more of a balanced health method, a sustainable way of creating health versus dieting, patience is absolutely necessary, because we are taught via the dieting and through, again, society and marketing, that we want that there's quick fixes out there, right? Dieting is quick fix that doesn't require patience. We truly need patience if we want to create sustainable health. Knowing that this is your journey. This is your journey, and it looks different than any other individual. Diet methods always put you right in this box, and everybody is doing things exactly the same. Whereas, again, we're not looking at the bio-individual aspect of that. So you are such a unique individual, and what works for you is not going to work for the next person. So keep in mind, when you hear individuals saying, hey, this is really helping me, learn or take what you want from that, but don't expect that it's going to work exact in your body, because we are all different. So if you want to take time to reflect for just a moment and really let it set in of what state of health are you in emotionally, physically, mentally, and I'll definitely add spiritually on that too, because I just met, for example, I just came from a one-on-one session with a client, and very, very common where they are eating, we have a plan to eat well, and it didn't happen because, and we find out she's spiritually disconnected at the moment. So when we were able to work back into that state of gratitude and redevelop that spiritual connection, that brought in the support tool, right? The support tool that was missing to support us on a physical level. Okay, now I have that desire and to go to the grocery store and cook the foods that are going to support my body, because I was not, because at the time I was very fearful. I was living in a fear state, or a state of worry, emotional distress, maybe mental distress. And then that just disconnected me spiritually, because I'm not believing in this higher force, or I'm not connecting. I do believe in it, but I'm not feeling connected to my higher force. And then that is leaving me very drained. That's bringing in a state of fatigue. That is bringing a lot of sadness and disconnect. And then that is really, really challenging to eat healthy in that state, because what does health require? It requires planning, right? We have to plan for our health every day. When am I going to move my body? How am I going to move my body? How much water am I going to drink? Am I going to eat? What am I going to eat? So it requires planning. But I can tell you, I can attest to, once you really start planning in life and taking those steps to implement more healthy habits, then you are going to increase your energy. You're going to feel more balanced in life than you ever have. So just take a little bit of time to reflect on these questions that I have here. How often do you thank your body for carrying you this far in life? So that's part of connecting with your body as a whole form, rather than only the physical aspect. How long? We often get really upset with our bodies for not looking a certain way, when we should be looking at how much have we put them through, and they are still functioning for us on a daily basis. It's not our body's fault. It's not our body's fault what we have done to it. Not at all. So how often do you thank your body? How often do you thank your body for still functioning, though you have maybe lived on a highly processed diet, or you have stood in front of the mirror every day and said, how disgusting, or I'm fat, or I'm ugly, or you have reflected these very negative words and emotions onto it, and and these states of unappreciation is what I'm looking for. Thank you for bearing with me there. Unappreciation for your body. So really consider this process. This process of balanced health requires love and care for your body and gratitude through this process. Thank you so much for still helping me walk and move, even though I have not exercised you the way that you are meant to be exercised. I know that, body, you love movement, that you need movement, that you crave movement, that you thrive off of movement. And I am the one that hasn't done that. And I thank you for holding up for me. So take time to really spend that time with your body. Okay, well, I hope that created some just awareness. Of course, there's the entire food portion of balanced health, but it's what I wanted to offer today is the preface, the foundation of balanced health. And then you can get into starting to eat more nourishing foods, starting to include lower carbohydrates, quality proteins, your gut supportive fibers that you need through your fruits and your vegetables and your whole grains and your nuts and seeds, making certain that you're getting healthy fats through your avocados and through your omegas and your nuts and your seeds, and moving your body. Really starting that movement routine. So once you get the foundation and the plan, and you really have that, the more of the emotional connection and awareness of where are you now, how are you treating your body, and what part do you play in this, right? And how do you want to live? Just as a recap, as committing to like your why, what is your commitment to this? How do you want to feel? Why do you want to change? And then that's going to help you create more of a sustainable plan through life. So I'd like to offer this time now for any questions that you may have. And if there's no questions, then we can move on. And
I have a question. I was in a car accident in the end of January, and my body is just going through a lot of trauma. I have a lot of hip issues and neck and back issues and myofascial pain. And I was just wondering what your thoughts are in terms of diet and how that can aid in my recovery.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a very loaded question, but ultimately we want to look at our food as nutrients for our body, right? And I know you've attended quite a bit of my classes, so you hear me talk about nutrients so much and how they do support your body, not only your body on a physical level, but on that emotional and mental level too, because we have to think of our food as precursors, right? Our precursors for our emotional stability, because they are the precursors for our hormones. So you could, I don't know how you're feeling, and you could share how you're feeling if you'd like, but when you're going through, it's probably difficult to move your body now the way that you want to, right? But what you need to look at then is, wow, what can my food do for me? So maybe I can't move my body the way that I can. But when we really look at overall health, the studies really show, 70% is our diet and 30% is our physical activity. Do we need both? Absolutely. But just creating a foundational, nutritious way of eating that's going to go a long ways, right? So do you have, what questions do you have around why you
Like,
should?
do you think like increased protein uptake, increased hydration can help aid in the recovery? Do I need to change my diet?
So the top things always to look at is nutrients, right? So nutrients we get through whole foods. Whole foods. So if you just really, I don't know your way of eating right now, so I'm just going to offer this to anyone out there. Hopefully this will benefit you too. We want to start with removing those refined foods, right? The highly processed foods, the crackers, the chips, a lot of the packaged foods, the fast foods that are highly refined and processed. And we want to just start eating those whole foods. And when we talk about whole foods, from the earth, right? There are the vegetables, the fruits, the nuts, the seeds, the your whole grains, your carbohydrates, your proteins, whether that be from animal or from plants or a combination, that those all carry different antioxidants, different nutrients, your macronutrients, your micronutrients, so many different phytochemicals. So, your vitamins, your minerals. So we want to eat a big variety of whole foods. That's what's going to definitely support your recovery on a higher level, because when you're eating foods that are opposite of what we're talking about, when you're not eating a whole foods diet and maybe you're living more off of processed foods, fast foods, those quick foods, refined foods, and or maybe you're eating the traditional pizza, pasta, just quick foods, but which is fine. There's a way you can eat those foods as long as you are adding in a lot of your fiber, making sure you're getting 5 to 7 servings of vegetables a day and 3 to 4 servings of fruit a day. And yeah, definitely making sure you're getting enough protein intake so that you can build the muscle that's needed to help you repair. So it really is more of an integrative approach. But if you think of just that process of focusing more on whole foods rather than specific, I need to get this much protein, this, this, more so. If you, in general, there's a few ways there's many different ways you can eat, that's shown globally, right? So in like the blue zones, for example. So here in America, we talk a lot about protein, a lot about protein. And protein is very, very important, definitely, to get quality protein at every meal. One, because it leaves you satiated. That means that you're not going to be as hungry throughout the day. So it's going to leave you feeling more full, and it really helps in the repair process in your body. Those amino acids are the building blocks for our tissues. And so that is important. But there's also the blue zones around the world where they don't eat protein in excess, and especially animal products. And they are known to be the healthiest individuals around the world. But is what they do, which is so different from where we live in other areas around the world, is they eat basically completely unprocessed foods, or very minimally. They're very from the earth foods. whole foods. That is their diet. So we eat a little bit differently here. So that's why protein is such a focus. So again, that goes back to bio-individual too. Listen to your body, what feels right in your body, and then kind of play around with it. But the base, the foundation is eating a whole foods diet and then adjusting from there, and definitely getting your water, as we talked about. Yes, definitely water. Hydration's key. There's a lot of low carbohydrates, like cucumbers are wonderful. Celery, just think of like those snap peas. There's a lot of low carbohydrates that offer a lot of water content. Those are great to add in your meals, because you're not adding a lot of calories, but you are still adding fiber, you're adding hydration through the high water content, and then you're adding a lot of the vitamins and minerals too. So I hope that helps.
Yes.
All right. Oh, wonderful. Well, thanks for joining. It was so good to share with you today, and I will I'll see you all soon. Thank you. Bye.